Greetings and salutations, loyal viewers of this channel. My name is Sean, and today we got to talk about how the left not supporting a murder appears to be a challenge that is absolutely impossible, because after the United CEO was assassinated in the middle of Manhattan at around 7 o'clock in the morning, many a leftist have decided to cheer this killing on, and in addition to that, subtly and not so subtly call for the murder of other CEOs of other insurance companies based on the fact that they don't like them because, oh my god, health insurance so bad, we gotta harm people, even though these people that are calling for such harm would never do it themselves. Essentially, they're setting up their own audience to ruin their lives, achieve nothing, and of course, showing their true colors. Now, we're gonna get into this, but before we do, I want to thank everybody who supports this channel via actualjusticeword.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money. Okay.
I want to turn now to our top story. The investigation continues into the fatal shooting of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson outside a New York City hotel early yesterday morning. Police say it was a targeted attack. The suspect fled the scene, and now a massive manhunt is underway.
Right now, the NYPD, along as part of a task force, along with U.S. Marshals, are trying to find this fugitive. What they've done is they're canvassing all of the video surveillance from buildings, from businesses, from homes across Manhattan, and following all the trail that he followed from the point that he left this site where the shooting took place, all the way to through Central Park, all the way to from Midtown Manhattan. Apologies, this is falling off. To the Upper West Side, where he was last seen riding a bicycle. Right now, the NYPD is trying to close in on him, and what we're hearing is that there are reports that they're getting close to a building somewhere close to the Upper West Side to perhaps execute a search warrant. We know that there was a warrant for the hotel room, not here in the Hilton, but the Marriott, where Thompson was staying. They're also...
So Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Healthcare, was killed while walking near a Hilton hotel in downtown Manhattan in and around 54th Street when a man who was waiting behind an SUV ended up firing shots first on his back and then walking up to him and finishing the job. Now, of course, there are videos of this that you can see. I will link them in the description, but the YouTube gods will punish me for showing this. However, this clearly and obviously seems like a premeditated attack. In addition to that, we actually see some writings on the shell casings that would lead people to believe that this was either politically motivated or motivated via a grudge that this person may or may not have had with United Healthcare. And this is because on the shell casings, reportedly, according to the police,
detectives are also taking a hard look at the shells left behind. The New York Post is reporting some of the casings had the words deny, depose, and defend engraved on them. Words not far off from a 2010 book bashing the insurance industry entitled Delay, Deny, Defend,
which is a slogan based on a book that was written about the insurance industry about how they don't have your back.
New this morning, NYPD releasing surveillance photos of the suspected gunman at a New York hostel without a mask. The clothing seems to match what is seen around 7 yesterday morning on surveillance video outside a Midtown Manhattan hotel. That's where police say the suspect saw United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, then walks out from behind a car, takes aim, and opens fire, hitting Thompson several times before running away.
But as of right now, what I believe is that the motivation is unknown. There's a lot of reports going around about how he was separated from his wife. His wife told the media when asked about this particular death that there were threats, vague threats related to denial of coverage. And the reason I bring this up is not to throw the wife under the bus or the family under the bus at the time that somebody that they knew and once cared about ended up getting killed. It's because we don't know the motivation as of right now, so we shouldn't try to extrapolate from it, even if there are signs that might indicate a political motive. Now, we have images of the suspect, first with his face covered, and according to the police, these images of this guy wearing the same clothes from days before might be the same person, so you can look at that, call it in if you know where this person is. Obviously, he's armed. Obviously, he's dangerous. Obviously, this is somebody who, in a cold-blooded fashion, murdered somebody on the streets of New York at around 7 o'clock in the morning. But again, as of right now, we don't know the motivation behind the attack, and I hope that this person is captured. And as of right now, at this moment in time, I wouldn't have covered this story because of all the different vagaries that are surrounding it. However, the people on the left wing, the people who supposedly care so hard about everyday people, people who label themselves humanists, have decided that they're going to go out of their way to bend over backwards and praise the murderer, condemn the family, the victim's family in this case, and this is all because, oh my god, I don't know if you guys know this, but health insurance is bad, and this CEO, being the CEO of a health insurance company, is actually personally murdering everybody whenever there is a coverage denial in the insurance market, which happens to be absurd, it happens to be ridiculous. So right off the top, there's this tweet from somebody called Julie Nelson, and it says, just a reminder, Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Health, who was just shot and killed in New York, was a human being with the family. So many of the comments on his murder are despicable. Now look, this is a standard sensible tweet. The idea that people should go out of their way to praise the murder of somebody because they work in an industry that they don't understand, because they work in an industry that, of course, they don't like because they don't understand it, doesn't make any sense at all. And considering many of these leftists were chastising you, the American people, for being glad when Osama bin Laden was taken out and being glad when terrorists get captured and or killed, even though they've waged war against the United States of America, it seems rather absurd for them to go after a CEO of an insurance company just because they're too stupid to understand what insurance is. On top of that, even if you're against the private health insurance system in the United States of America, obviously you shouldn't embrace murder, and the murder of this CEO does quite literally nothing to address the issues that you have. So this should be an easy challenge for leftists to be able to get on board with. Don't praise the murderer. But of course, Mike Figueroa, who is like the 14th most relevant knockoff of Kyle Kalinske, has decided challenge impossible. And not only is it funny that the CEO died, but it's also good to mock the family of the CEO because F his family, he dared to work in private health insurance. Now again, this is funny for a number of reasons. First and foremost, that this low-rent Kyle Kalinske knockoff ended up naming his show The Humanist Report, and as a humanist, he's attacking and cheering on a murderer, and in addition to that, he is saying F the family too, because oh my god, this person dare work in private healthcare, and private healthcare is bad, and killing this CEO definitely changes the facts on the ground for the individuals that allegedly this person cares about that are getting denied by United Healthcare. Oh wait, it does absolutely nothing. Murdering this individual does not benefit anybody who is sick and seeking coverage from United Healthcare at all whatsoever, but the thing is, that never really mattered to any of these leftists. I know you guys might have heard this too many times to the point that it's become a cliche, but these individuals hate the rich far more than they care about the poor, and honestly, they are perfectly representative of this meme, which shows that the authoritarian left thinks that everything is violence, except of course for actual violence, because objectively, nobody benefits from this person being killed, except maybe the shareholders of United, because apparently their stock price went up, because apparently this guy was under investigation by the SEC for some potential impropriety at the moment in time when he was eventually killed. So this actually saves them money from dealing with a potential scandal, maybe, I'm not exactly sure, again, if those reports are to be believed. So again, the people who benefit are the evil corporation that this person says that he's against. Now, of course, Anna Kasparian of the Young Turks ended up calling out Mike Figueroa, not just for being a low-rent, less charismatic version of Kyle Kalinske, but because this is actually his same position on murder for every other random individual who gets killed based on the leftist policies that he advocates for. I mean, this is pretty much the same reaction leftists like him have when a working class family is stabbed to death at a bus stop by a repeat offender they want out roaming the streets. Now, you might think that's unfair, that's too sharp from Anna Kasparian of a criticism to label the Humanist Report with, but this is 100% true. Over and over again, guys like this defend policies like bail reform, they talk about abolishing prisons and all this other nonsense, getting rid of the police, and the result of that is repeat offenders being released time and time again, and guess what? These people ignore those stories when that repeat offender eventually takes it a step further and ultimately ends up killing a person. Again, we talked about many stories about retail theft, and these people excuse it. They say, oh my god, they're innocent Baba Angel Aladdins who are just trying to steal something in order to feed their starving families, and we should not prosecute them at all whatsoever. And don't worry, these are non-violent crimes, and only insurance is going to ultimately end up covering this. However, when you point out that when these businesses close, the people who work at them lose their jobs, the people in the area end up having to deal with blight. They have to pay higher prices at other locations. And because they end up having to get more security prior to the closing, they end up being more confrontations. And what ultimately ends up happening when an employee who is at risk of losing their job because theft is out of hand confronts one of these thieves very often is that they end up getting killed. And these people never talk about that. They never address the increase in injuries that people working at these various companies face due to the fact that we let these repeat offenders out on the streets over and over and over again. And that's just one category. You want to talk about homeless people, mental ill people, all these different other various people that are defended by the left, put back out on the streets by the left, despite the fact that they should be incarcerated or they should be committed. It's just unending. So it's not surprising to see them defend a murderer because they repeatedly defend murderers. But of course, I want to pivot off of Mike Figueroa for a second and hop over to Taylor Lorenz, who responded to the killing of the United CEO by going out on Blue Sky, which is this left-wing alternative to Twitter, and posting the image and name of the Blue Cross Blue Shield CEO, basically encouraging people to go kill that person too. I don't talk all that much about Taylor Lorenz on this channel because I feel it's a little bit played out, but in this particular instance, when you have somebody who's constantly talking about online harassment and threats that she faces to the point where she's going on TV and crying about how sad her life is.
You feel like any little piece of information that gets out on you will be used by the worst people on the internet to destroy your life. And it's so isolating.
And terrifying.
It's horrifying. I'm so sorry. It's overwhelming. It's really hard.
To turn around and do this and encourage her followers to murder somebody is absurd in every possible way. But in addition to that, she also wrote a dumbass article excusing this behavior. So the article is entitled, "Why We, in quotes, Want Insurance Executives Dead." No, that does not mean people should go murder them, but if you watched a loved one suffer and die from insurance denial, it's normal to wish the people responsible the same fate. Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Healthcare, was fatally shot Wednesday outside of New York Hilton in Manhattan, where the company was hosting an investor day. Thompson, who is 50, had been the CEO of United Healthcare's United Health Group's insurance arm since 2021, overseeing a wide range of health plans and benefits. Within seconds of news breaking, people online began celebrating. A Facebook post by United Healthcare about the CEO's passing was met with over 23,000 laughing emojis before it was taken down. Quote, "Health insurance companies are parasites, siphoning blood money from sick, dying, and injured," one user posted. Quote, "I'm only surprised it hasn't happened sooner." Now again, this article goes on to explain the rationale for rooting for this person to be killed, and the idea is, look, health insurance companies make money denying you coverage, therefore health insurance companies are bad, evil, and we should wish death upon the CEOs, even if that doesn't change anything related to the health insurance market. And what I will point out is that all of this is based in the complete and utter ignorance of people who are supporting these positions on what insurance is actually supposed to do. Because in the United States of America, for some ungodly reason, we believe that health insurance is meant to provide you health care, when in reality, the purpose of insurance is to insure you, to protect you from catastrophic financial loss, not pay for your day-to-day costs for whatever category you have this insurance in. And this is perfectly understandable when we talk about auto insurance. You buy auto insurance in case your car gets stolen, in case it gets significantly damaged, in case it gets totaled or whatever, but you don't buy auto insurance in order to fill up your gas tank. You don't buy auto insurance in order to cover your oil changes. You see, the problem in the United States of America is that we view health insurance as the be-all end-all meant to pay for all of our different various costs, when in reality, that is a completely unworkable system on its face. What we should have is insurance for catastrophic things that would cause us catastrophic financial loss. And what people should do, again, in the ideal system, is go out and pay out of pocket for the regular ordinary doctor's visits, for their small maintenance things, a la the car insurance example, and that would significantly bring down the cost of insurance, and that would also have the effect of lowering healthcare costs for the basic things that people would have to pay for out of pocket, because one of the biggest problems with our third-party paying system is the fact that people never haggle for price because that is being paid for by the insurance. So of course, insurance companies are going to try to deny you claims or whatever, because the whole point of insurance is to take a large risk pool from people that are likely never going to use the full breadth of your services, and that way whatever payments are paid out to claimants is going to be offset by all the different people who are just paying for that financial security. But our system says health insurance needs to cover absolutely everything. Every single medical expense, whether it be small, whether it be a maintenance issue or something that's catastrophic, needs to be covered by insurance. Insurance also needs to not be able to deny anyone, but also in addition to that, these companies need to be functional enough in order to offer these plans to individuals so that way people can have healthcare. Obviously, what is being described is not an insurance system. What is being described is an unlimited welfare system, and I know a lot of people say that they want that in the form of government-run healthcare, but again, if that's your position, if that's something that you want, having this CEO get murdered has nothing to do with anything. And in addition to that, I will point out that people get denied coverage under a socialized healthcare system all the time. The idea that you get unlimited coverage for all categories for everything big or small is absurd. That is not the way that it works. It is also just a government-run insurance system, more or less. And yes, people do get denied certain coverages under those systems that people want to emulate. And by the way, a perfect example of this is that recently Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield decided to back off a supposedly controversial plan to limit coverage of anesthesia. The health insurance company previously decided that they were no longer going to pay for anesthesia care if the surgery procedure goes beyond a certain period of time. Now, of course, people attacked the private insurer for this because of their profit-seeking behavior, but it turns out they were just aligning their anesthesia policy with the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, and there's quite literally no complaints at all about the government doing this exact same thing, but the private insurance doing it. Oh my god, profits! So scary, profits! But again, this is the system that they want to move towards, and it's the same policy. It's the same effect. So in reality, the reason people hate insurance, and specifically hate health insurance above the other categories of insurance, is because people's expectations of insurance and what we actually require of them by law doesn't make any sense with an insurance system. So of course, they have to figure out ways in order to deny people claims, and when they deny people claims, because it's healthcare, it is considered a life and death proposition, but in reality, healthcare costs would not have spiraled so out of control if we actually had sensible standards for insurance in the way that we do in other categories of the insurance market. Again, auto insurance. You might feel like you're paying too much for your car insurance, and maybe that's true, but in reality, people tend to have a better understanding of why they're paying what for auto insurance, what their benefits are when it comes to that, and that seems to not have the same level of hatred that we have as related to the healthcare system. So look, to be 100% clear, I'm not saying that you need to weep for this healthcare CEO. I'm not saying that you need to even weep for his family. The fact of the matter is, a huge portion of you guys out there in the audience don't know this guy, you don't know his family, and I understand that there are a bunch of people who get murdered across the United States each and every day, but the idea that cheering on his death is somehow anything more than a petty grievance fantasy, a petty revenge fantasy by small, insignificant people who just hate those who are more successful than them is just wrong-headed and absurd, and nothing changes by this guy getting killed. The system, you know how these people always talk about the systemic systems and the structures, goes on with or without this guy existing. All this is gratuitous hatred of this person based on the fact that he's successful and the fact that these people have no understanding of the industry that he works in. And again, that ignorance, that hatred makes me under the impression that we should never allow these people to ever be in charge of our medical decisions in the future. Again, these people want the government to act on their behalf and enforce their morality through through their actions, and they want them to take over the healthcare system. Who in their right minds would willingly want to give power over to these bitter, vengeful, absolute pieces of human garbage like the Humanist Report in order to make those decisions about your day-to-day lives? Again, with the backing and force of government, not me. And this is one of the reasons why I will never support these people. Because again, when it comes to people who attack the United States of America, when it comes to people who wage war against us, all of a sudden it's not cool in order to celebrate a death. But somebody who works in a company whose death in no way, shape, or form changes the policy or the systemic issue that supposedly they're against ends up getting killed, it's cause for celebration. Again, these people are garbage in every possible way, and they should be shamed from now until the end of time. And on top of all of that, they're also cowards, because Taylor Lorenz, Mike Figueroa, each and every one of these left-wing people who are celebrating this, who are promoting this, are doing so in such a way where they're not actually calling for the violence that they're supporting. They're not actually engaging in the violence that they're supporting. On this channel, we don't play around like that. We don't support violence or anything of the sort, and the reason why is because it is so unbelievably cowardly for me to encourage you guys out there in the audience to do something that I'm not willing to do. But Mike Figueroa, Taylor Lorenz, and all these other cowardly online lefties, they're perfectly fine doing that. They're perfectly fine encouraging their audience to throw their lives away on something that won't impact the cause that supposedly they're fighting for, because they don't give a damn. Again, it's all about a revenge fantasy for them. It's not actually about creating political change. It's not about helping the poor. It's about hating the rich, and that is an intolerable amount of cowardice that I can also never get behind. Mike Figueroa, all you different various lefties, step up and throw your own life away if you actually think this is worthwhile. Otherwise, shut up. And for damn sure, I never want to hear any of these individuals talk about targeted harassment from the internet leading to real world consequences or stochastic terrorism, because if you were going to look through any of these people's backlog of content, what would you see time and time again? Oh, the rhetoric of the right is leading to, even though it's not directly calling for, because you're just putting it out there in the ether, violence that's just percolating up. Therefore, we need to censor speech in order to curb the violence that we can't directly connect to said rhetoric. Absolute nonsense from top to bottom. And again, cowardice to the extreme. But you know what? Those are just my thoughts. I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you like the video, you show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on the social medias, support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about the absolute cowardice of the left wing who want to back a murderer, but not actually do anything about it and not actually fully attach their name to it. Till next time.